The light went poof, it was gone. It seemed like it was really fast, but who knows, if you're you lose time.
Well, that's it. It's it. But I seen one in 95, me and a buddy of mine. It was 95, I think the spring of 95. And this thing in the distance, I don't know, it was like 3 a.m. Back road and out in the country. And this thing in the distance, it would go left and right on a dime. Just shoot from left and then to the right, and it'd drop down and then just kind of come up a little bit and hover and just shoot left but this thing came over top of us. And this thing, it was 8-sided. I'm jumping up and down saying, Ronnie, you seen this? He said, yeah. And I asked him what it looked like. He said, like a giant stop sign, except the sides were stretched out a little bit more on the sides of it, but no sound. And you could see the craters of the dark metal, like the valleys of metal up underneath of it. And there's like an orange and green light on the rear pilot side, but we still talk about it today. And he talks about the hair standing up that I don't know, that no sound, but it was like a humish. I don't know. It was, but probably every bit of the size of a football field. I mean, it was the closest UFO I've ever seen. And of course didn't have cameras, but good old boys on the back road. And I don't know.
Well, I will say this. I've been getting a lot of reports lately, of UFOs. Before, people would call me up back in the 70s and 80s. People would say, I saw a UFO. And you say, how big was it? Oh, maybe 80 to 100 feet. Now, I've been hearing they're like the size of a football field. They're the size of a Walmart store. Walmart is a big store, the size of Walmart. Yeah. But then, one of my talk show hosts I have on my network that I own, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer, he has usually on Peter Davenport on for about a half an hour on his show every Saturday. Now, Peter Davenport runs the National UFO Reporting Center. And it's funny. He's been getting a lot of reports lately, the same thing, that these UFOs are not small little things anymore. They're huge. And it's coming from very reliable sources.
Yeah, it's good to have a buddy with you that sees it too, so I ain't the only one, having to say, hey. So he has to say it, yeah, I seen one too. And it's good to have.
Oh, yeah. Now, since you were a kid and this has been going on, I mean, how has it been affecting you? I mean, how old are you now, Don?
I am 47.
Oh, you're young.
This year.
You're a young kid.
Yeah, I wish, yeah. But, it's affected me. It's really traumatized me, especially to learn that it's happened to other people, that other people have floated and been showed like future catastrophes and seen the same being. And it's like, I mean, is it all coincidence? I have had dreams that happen. I mean, they say that abductees will report psychic abilities. Well, I mean, I've had like 5 or 6 dreams that happen. I mean, like the tsunami at 300,000 people. I mean, like a week before that, I had a dream. I'm in a used car lot. And I'm talking to a guy with a yellow shirt and a tie on behind his counter. And next thing I know, a big earthquake hits. And I take off out of this car lot. And I'm walking through like the poor side of Seymour where I used to live. And chest high full of water. But there's bodies and boards and debris everywhere. And I get to this little house. And this little boy and little girl's got this baby up out of the water by this kitchen table or whatever, and they're all standing in water. Well, I wake up, but I think it was maybe 6-7 days later, the tsunami hit Thailand and killed 300-something thousand people. But is that coincidence? I mean, I don't know, because I've had 2 dreams that happened in California, less than 500 miles from each other, and I've never been to California in my life.
Oh, wow. What
San Diego or San Francisco oil spill and the Coast Guard plane hit a Marine helicopter. Yeah, Sam Clemens Island or something like that. But I did the math. There's like less than 500 miles. I mean, what's the odds? I don't know. I mean, is it?
I'm just wondering, when you were abducted, if they gave you some abilities, because I'm wondering how people, develop their abilities on their own anyway, but maybe they enhanced your abilities when you were abducted.
I don't know. It was just, the dreams were so intense, really, because like the oil spill, my dream was I'm sitting there running past a line of cop cars. There's like 5 cop cars. They're all parked right there, and the lights are on. There ain't no cops in them. And I take in front of this line of cop cars with this seagull in my left arm. I've never been around seagulls, but he's like my friend. It feels like he's like my pet or my best friend. I'm trying to save him. And I take down this path all the way down, and there's a jet ski on this lake, and I've never been on a jet ski. And I jump on it like James Bond and take off. And look behind me, and this black stuff bubbling, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, I think it's maybe 5 days later to a week, big oil spill hit San Francisco Harbor. And just stuff like that, it's plagued me kind of all my life.
Now,
it's different because...
Have you seen anything... I'm going to be blunt with you, Don. Have you seen anything?
Go right ahead, brother.
It shows what... Have you had a dream? Now, how can I word this right? Where it shows the outcome of our planet. What's going to happen to our civilization, our mankind? Are we going to be hit with a big superstorm? Or are we going to go through a magnetic flip where, you know, we get 300 to 800 mile an hour winds coming through and cleaning off the planet? I mean, have you had any dreams like that or anything?
The only dreams I had that was repetitive was 2015, and I was standing there, and it looked like a parade. And they wore dark clothing, and they had dark vehicles. I don't know. There's like semis that had missiles on them, but it was like a parade of 2 by 2 and 2. And it was just like a parade. And I had that like in April and July. The same stupid dream, but I don't know. They did some kind of march of force of the NATO, so I don't know if that was it or if it's still to come. I don't know. It was like a big parade, so I know.
Well, put it this way. They have to be intelligent to get to this planet one way or another if they're going through wormholes or going through, through whatever to get here.
But it's like...
Go ahead.
I had a dream like that. Me and my buddy Larry fishing. I was in high school, probably sophomore, I'd say, and maybe a little older. But we went to the river fishing, and it was too hot. We didn't catch nothing, so we started back home to the apartments there where we lived. It was about a mile from the river and back, or 2 miles, probably both ways. But we ran into the neighbor kids that lived in front of me and my mom, and Joe and whatever.
Okay, you're starting to break up there, Don.
Oh, but it was the neighbor kids that lived in front of me and my mom, but we said hi or whatever, and we made it back to Larry's apartment. I fell asleep on his couch. And when I woke up, it was like, I don't know, maybe 30, 45 minutes later, I come to find out that the neighbor kids we passed, went down there but while I was dreaming, but I fell in the river that I was grabbing for a log and I missed it, and there was another one coming up and I missed it, and I'm being pulled out like the river, the middle of the river, and it's current's really bad and stuff, but I don't know. I woke up, and it's like 45 minutes later, I learned that still pass and said hello to Joe. He went down there and drowned. Now, it was a coincidence. It could be because I was just there, but, it's just stuff like that that's weird. That's, I don't know. I'm Rh negative. That had something to do with it. I don't know.
No, I do have a feeling that when you were a child, you were abducted. And, those memories are implanted deep into your brain. And, too, who knows what they did to you? I mean, again, I don't think there's 25 million alien spaceships circulating Earth, cloaked here to protect mankind. That's like one person tried to tell me. I don't think that. I do think there's
some that...
They're experimenting on people. That's all it is. I mean, I got pictures of people, not just cattle mutilations, but humans that have been mutilated to the point that it would turn your stomach. I mean, where the cuts were more accurate than laser. And these were abducted in like Brazil, the rainforest, all different areas of the world. And that stuff doesn't really hit the main news. And that's what kind of gets me is, again, everybody comes out, and I don't say everybody, but a lot of people, they think that these abductions are here to help mankind. I just don't believe it. And it makes me feel that something is going on because the creation of the Space Force, the weird things that's been transpiring with the government, talking about disclosure. I think something is going to, Don, I got a funny feeling this year we might hear something.
It's going to happen, brother.
Yeah, something might happen,
brother. Louise, or whatever his name is there, and that David Fraser, when that video came out, and Louise said, yeah, there's things out there that's no known aircraft of any country that we know of, and it's next generation technology. I mean, they stood out there and plain out told the world, and nobody was listening on CNN and Fox and all them. And it's amazing that nobody really caught that they just admitted that there's things out there that they've been studying and researching that is they know it. They got trace evidence, they said. It's just, they see them on radar. They have, testimony by professional people, the Air Force, the pilots. It's really legit. It's really happening, and I don't know what to I'm just trying to figure out what's happened to me and what's going on with me. I ain't trying to make nobody believe. That's all up to them. I'm just trying to figure out what happened to me.
Well, have you thought about getting hypnotized and going through regression to find out what happened to you?
Yes, I have, because I had another incident happen to me. It's been a couple of years ago, and the whole room was buzzing. It was like vibrating and buzzing, and I felt my legs floating up in the air. And well, the next thing I know, it's like my legs hit, and I woke up. I don't know. It's like my legs dropped, and I don't know. I don't know if something happened there. Are they getting better at taking me? I don't know, but it's just, things are weird.
Well, you mentioned your mom felt like she was floating at one time. Has it happened more than once to her? Have you sat down and talked about it?
Well, that's all that I know, because she passed like a couple years after that, and yeah, we never really got to, because it took me a minute to really digest it all in. And when I got disabled in 2015, I had a hip replacement go bad. That's when I started really digging into this stuff and really taking the time, since I was, couldn't work or nothing. So I started, researching on what really happened, and just the more I looked into it, it was like putting a puzzle together because of the patterns. And they say if you've been abducted, your mom has been abducted, or whatever, your dad. And I remember my grandma was talking one time back in the 70s. She's seen a UFO that had red lights. It was down toward the bottoms there where we live. And I remember other people like the sheriff, the old Rorik, the old sheriff seen a UFO or reported UFO. But it just all that, and the Facebook support group, the old boy that had the stuff under his hand. The floating, all the cases I've seen floating, and the same being. Even the pilot from one of the pilots that supposedly carried bodies from Roswell, his wife reported that he described them to her as being big black slanted eyes and sunk in. And it's what's crazy is that's what I research more, because I research what I seen, what happened to me, not the reptilians and all that. I'm not saying that there is or ain't, but I just research what I seen, what happened to me, and other people seen the same thing, and it's really crazy. It's lots of chew, really, but it gets lots of chew.
Well, one thing is there's so many. I think there's so many different species of humanoids out there. The grays, whatever you want to call them. You can call them the leopard man. I don't care. But the thing is, there's a lot of them out there, but I can tell you the grays, and some of them are, from what research I've done. Now, there's a group of people who say the grays are the ones that are here to help mankind, but then I also read that the grays are not the friendly ones. That's the whole thing, and I sometimes wonder when they abduct somebody, maybe they purposely don't take their full memory away from them of their encounter of being abducted. Again, maybe you were implanted. Maybe they want to see how you go on your life, and they're monitoring you.
I think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sometimes I wonder about that. it's been a lot of people, again, like what you.
Scary.